Hello, welcome dear one to the energies and themes of August 2024. As always, I am going to tune into the energetic themes that are here present on the planet as a collective and also for you in your individual lives. And as I'm tuning in to August, I'm noticing a very strong kind of teacher's finger up, which means attention. Now the guidance for August and going forward for the next couple of months is so clear. Humanity, you will need to learn this lesson. Anyone can say anything. How will you know the truth? Anyone can write anything. Anyone can post anything. How will you ever know the truth? With so many forces wanting your attention, wanting your energy, wanting everything from you for their own benefit or for different reasons. If that is the case, which we see now is the case, and it leaves humanity utterly confused, where is the way out? The way out is in very old truth and path that you can follow, something that you can apply. And this is by their deeds you will know them. Judge a man by his actions, not his words. Now, yes, you can also take words into consideration, meaning if somebody speaks in a way that is disrespectful, that is mean, that is egotistical, that is selfish, that is cruel, even judgmental, power-driven, then, and I'm not saying once, I'm not saying if somebody is mean or hurtful once. I'm saying if this is what someone says over and over and over again, yeah, listen to that. Listen closely. Listen closely. Because by the fruit you will know them. By their fruits you will know them. That's what Jesus said. Or by their deeds. Meaning, if they act according to how they talk, if they speak over and over and over again in an unloving, self-centered, cruel, let me say negative way, believe those words, especially if actions follow that support those words, then yes, believe them. And don't say, they may say this, they may act like this, but in the end, I think they're a really good person. They're really kind and compassionate. No matter how non-compassionately they speak or act on a daily basis. No, they are really compassionate, really truly loving, really truly humanity friendly. Think about this. No matter how much you want something to be true, just by you wanting it to be true, it doesn't make it so. Open your eyes to what you see. And see what fruits somebody produces. Is it helpful? What they create, and I'm saying they now on a collective level, right? You could even say on a political level. Across the globe, what somebody creates, is that harmony-based? Is that humanity-based? Is that love-based? Is that so? Because that's the fruits. Or is it the opposite? And then judge it by the fruits. Judge it by how somebody acts. And not by how you want it to be or what you choose to interpret into it. Because it's these interpretations that the information industry out there plays with. It's like What do people need right now? They're assessing your needs. And according to that, they can throw out information that will make you interpret something in a completely different way than it is, truly, in a completely different way, because it feeds what you need. And you're actually doing this yourself then, by the way you choose to perceive it, by the choice of perspective. Now, the wise choice of perspective is always to include multiple perspectives, always. Because duality, we know this, duality is just an illusion. The truth beyond duality is unity. And if we want to express more and more as our divine self, our divine beingness, our source beingness, our consciousness beingness, we're consciousness. And the basis of all consciousness is unity. Every individualized consciousness comes from a point of unity. So the more we approach this again as truth and start to live by that truth, even in a polarized and dualistic world, the more we create a world that is based on unity, based on unity consciousness. So, look at how somebody speaks. And then look at their actions. And then make a judgment, meaning a discernment. Not judge them right or wrong or good or bad, but discern whether this is in alignment with you. Whether this is something you want to support or not support, that you agree with or don't agree with, in terms of being in alignment with it. Now, everybody can have their own opinion. Everybody can have their own path. They can do whatever they choose to do. That's part of the free will scenario we have here on the planet. But if you keep asking, what's the truth? Where is the truth? Who is right? Who is wrong? What are they telling us? What are they not telling us? And especially noticing again and again and again and again on a daily basis. This is why you are so confused. Because on a daily basis, you notice they're telling me something. It feels completely off to what my inner truth is. So I can't believe that. And then someone else is telling me something else, and this does feel off. And then there's this whole area of things that nobody seems to mention. That's there, and it's not spoken about. It's not there, but you sense it's there. Yeah, there is a field of information there of happenings, of events, of truths, let's say, that you perceive. And because you can't name it, it's like, oh, maybe I should brush this off and again look at the information that's being presented to me. But if you feel, you see, we all have our inner guidance. You, as the true you, consciousness, you know the truth, despite anything that is going on. And what I can also share with you is the truth is not a one-sided coin. It doesn't exist. So you have these two sides or multiple sides, meaning multiple perspectives, right? So you have a scenario and then you have multiple perspectives and aspects in that. And being able to see all that and include all that and hold all that, that creates wisdom. And so when you look at things out there, let's say on a world scenario, political arena, begin to look at people's actions more than listening to their words. Because what you have already noticed is words change. They can change these days on a daily basis, and people think that's normal. People think it's normal that somebody says one thing one day and tells you to believe that and to stand up for that. And the next day, or maybe even an hour later, they tell you the opposite. And they argue the opposite viewpoint and tell you, now you go for this because this is why, and they give you the reasons. Kind of saying, who cares what I said yesterday? Believe people when they're inconsistent. Believe people when they're unkind. Believe people when they're cruel, when they're impulsive, when they're harsh. Believe them. And if you have found it difficult so far to do so, ask yourself, what narratives have I been holding on to inside that I did not believe them, that I don't want to believe them? And then choose. That same goes now for within your own life, with people in your life and within yourself. Choose the path of alignment. If you have people in your life who are not treating you well, let's say, believe them. If they're not treating you well, if they're unkind to you in any way, and I don't mean like if they get mad at you like once a day or something, I mean on an ongoing basis, if that's kind of the way the relationship is on an ongoing basis, believe them. Believe their unkind perspective towards you. Not saying I deserve unkindness, but if this is the basis of the relationship that's coming from the other person is unkindness, do I really need to be in this type of relationship? Believe actions. And believe if words match actions. Again, on an ongoing basis. Because obviously everybody speaks unkindly every now and then. Everybody gets angry or not so nice every now and then, right? Everybody can get self-centered every now and then. That's not what I mean. It's not like, oh yeah, that's a self-centered person, so put your stamp on that and put them in that drawer. That's not what I mean. Observe somebody. If they're kind most of the time, and sometimes they have an off moment or an unconscious moment, as I would put it, because we can only be off or unkind or angry or self-centered if we're not conscious in that moment of our true self, right? So if we identify with our ego, human personality-based state of being, then these things happen. But if most of the time somebody is kind and gentle and compassionate and loving and joyful and peaceful and there for others, then that's what you can trust and what you can believe. And if every now and then they have an off moment or an unconscious moment, what you do is you forgive them the way they need to forgive themselves too for that, for stepping out of alignment. And that's okay. It's okay. We step out of it and then we come back into it, because that's what all of this journey here is about. So the encouragement for August is very much, and for the next couple of months, very much like, number one, judge a man by his actions, not his words, especially at this day and age, where words don't mean anything anymore if they're not supported by actions, okay? Secondly, believe somebody if they continuously speak in a certain way, whether it is a positive way or a negative way. And if they do this over and over and over again, believe them, especially if it's supported by actions. So especially if you're on a spiritual path, if you're on a path of an awakened state of beingness here in this world, it is also important for you to look inside and to look at, how do my words leave me? Like, what kind of words? How do I speak? Meaning, how do you think about the world? about yourself. And from that, do my actions match my words? When I speak of forgiveness to people, am I practicing forgiveness in my daily life? When I speak of living freedom, do I practice living freedom and giving freedom to my fellow human beings in my life, respecting their freedom? When I speak about love, am I loving and kind and compassionate in my daily life? You see, everyone here, and people do, especially also on YouTube, they have these wonderful statements, glorious words, phrases, and wise messages that they put out. And yes, it can be encouraging and it can be inspiring. But you need to look at, how does this person live every day? And it doesn't mean they have to be holy and saint and perfect in every moment. It means, what's the common thread? What's the baseline of their life like? Do they speak about these things in their daily life? Or do they not speak about them, but they practice them in their daily life? Do they self-examine? And this goes for you. When you go through your life, you can have lots of moments during the day where you might feel off, where you might feel you are impatient, or you are not in agreement with something. Something might trigger you, might trigger an emotional response. Of no, of I don't want this, I don't like this shouldn't be this way, how can you even think that, judgment, and so on and so forth, right? And this is totally okay. This is actually one way of how we learn to overcome these patterns, that we have them and that we notice them. But what you do with them then is the key to your development, is the key of actually why this life here exists. So it doesn't mean be, kind and gentle and soft-spoken and serving all the time and not looking after your own needs for the sake of other people's needs. That's not what it's about. It's about you, and you still have a personality, you still have traits and characteristics, but when they pop up, are you in your little self, in your ego, in your identity, human identity, or are you conscious, observing what's going on and then saying, ooh, there is impatience coming up now in this situation with this person. Hello, impatience. Mel is feeling impatient right now. Ooh, okay. And she wants to react. Now, what do you want to do then? And this is the key. Not never be impatient or never be annoyed or never be unkind. But when you are, even if it's only in your mind or within your inner life, if you haven't expressed it outwards yet, but you feel an unkindness or maybe a judgmental thought towards somebody, what do you do then? And consciousness, what consciousness does then, you as the conscious self, you examine that. You do not judge it. If you have a judgmental thought, the first thing you might do when your ego is on a spiritual path is it judges the judgmental thought. See, you're not holy. You're not a saint. You're not worthy. You're not even on the path yet. Like, look, you still have these judgmental thoughts. They're so unkind, and that's not non-duality, and that's not unity consciousness. See where you are at. That's the ego trying to be your spiritual teacher. And once you notice that, you can smile and saying, oh, clever ego. I see what I'm doing inside of me, these two facets of me, kind of the guilty one and the one that is giving out. But there's still two parts of the ego. You as consciousness, you as you, let's say the divine spark, you, individualized source energy or individualized God portion. You go, oh, I see what's going on within that human being. that human being has these reactions and they totally make sense in this human world. Now, what is the choice that I want to make in that moment? And everything about this world, on this planet, 3D consciousness, is about the choice. Polarizing positively or negatively. So then what you do is, from consciousness, you observe it, you say thank you for the situation that it brings up in me, this unkind, judgmental thought, because I can see it. So my lesson is to see it, to thank it, to bless it, and then to choose to transcend it. Meaning that you understand this thought, you know why you have this judgment, right? In like, you see somebody who's not saying the truth. I'm sticking with the original topic, and you say, what a liar. Like, I can see right through you. You are lying. And these lies will have detrimental effects because I can see them. So that's a judgment, right? You see it. Now, I'm not saying don't see it. See what you see and hold on to your truth. Your inner voice speaks to you. So if you get the message, this is a lie, for example, then instead of judging it, you see it for what it is. That other self, that human, is allowed to lie. They don't have to be truthful if that's not their value. They can have any agenda they want and try to live it in whatever way they choose to. Who are you to tell them what to do, what to say, and how to live? Right? Now, if you're saying at the same time, yeah, but these words will lead to these actions, will lead to, or have led to that war in that country, for example, or between those countries. And it's based on untruths, or it's based on this person's or that group's philosophy, or that group's ideology. And this is so not good, okay? Because innocent people are suffering because of that, let's say. Then notice where your place is right now. Your place is not in the mind of that person or that group acting out in this way, causing harm or unpeace, disharmony to others. That is their choice, and that is what they choose to live in that moment. Your place is to be here and to be more divine than you were yesterday, meaning expressing more that, meaning being non-judgmental, because Source is non-judgmental. Love is non-judgmental, unconditional. The more we become that, the more we become non-judgmental and loving, the more we become like the divine. It's as simple as that. It's not difficult. It doesn't mean agree with everything that's there and don't do anything. Don't act. Because, like I said before, you are here also in action, right? We're words and action and thoughts and emotions and everything. So this life is also about action, meaning act in accordance with your truth. And if your truth is based in love and compassion and kindness and peace and harmony, then your actions need to reflect that. You will not achieve that by condemning. That is an action that's unkind, unloving, and judgmental. Exactly what you don't want others to be, or what you don't even yourself want to be. So every situation that comes up in a day then can be used as this lesson for you to examine yourself. Where am I out of alignment right now, if I'm impatient or unkind? And how will this bring me back into being even more determined to be in alignment more? Because I want to, not because I have to, because I want to, because I feel this is my true nature, and I want to be and express as my true nature more and more and more each day while I'm here. So you in turn also need to make sure that your words and actions are in alignment. And what I can also tell you is the underlying aspect of everything that you can find. I've mentioned this before as the word truth, but truth is it's actually a very difficult word to use, and I don't like to use it that much because who knows the true truth anyway? Because all is one, and all opposites are one, so everything is kind of true anyway. But the aspect underlying everything, and maybe this will clarify this for you as well, is what you sense, what you can sense, and sometimes what you can hear when somebody speaks or yourself, and what they do is you see what values they have. Because our values are being reflected in our words and in our actions. What we value. Do we value, for example, community and togetherness and support? Or do we value competition and power and suppression? And you can find these values when you observe humans. You can find them within their words and within their actions. And then you can find out, are these values in alignment with my values? Again, not judging them for having their values, but just noticing they're on a different path than me. And the more you notice somebody being on a different path, again, the more you can use this as your task, as your lesson, to be more in alignment with you and expressing that more. You in alignment with yourself and living your values more. Living your values more. So I would like to invite you to do this during this month. Judge a man by his actions, not his words. By their fruits you shall know them. Because there's no good tree that produces bad fruit, is what it says in the Bible, or a bad tree that produces good fruit. And again, that's not judgment, as in, is it a good person or a bad person? And because we're all, in the end, soul's source energy. Everyone chooses different experiences in this lifetime. There's the positive path and the negative path. Negative meaning not bad, but meaning service to self path, as the law of one states. Meaning they get to serve themselves. They get to be egotistical. They get to suppress others. They get to explore power over others. That is the service to self path. And that is a valid path of exploring one's own evolution. And then there is the positive polarization, service to others path, understanding that I'm connected to the other. That's the first level. And then the next one is I am the other. Like we are one, all is one. And in this oneness, I understand the more I give, the more I receive. The more I look after someone else, the more I look after myself. And if I sacrifice myself and hurt myself, I hurt the other person because we're one. It's not like a one-way street. It's a two-way street. So I get to actually love myself. I get to love the other. I get to love the other. I get to love myself. So the path of unity consciousness, service to others, love, compassion, that's the positive path. But both are valid. Both are valid. Where humanity is heading, and this is why we're in August 2024 with this lesson now, right? Look at the actions. Look at what somebody produces as a result of their speech and their actions. Look at what this produces. That's why we even have these lessons, because where humanity is heading is the next level positive consciousness state. That's where Earth is heading, right? Love and compassion consciousness. Unity consciousness. Working together, supporting each other. That's where we're headed. And however long it takes, it doesn't matter. But you get to be here to choose your individual path in that, because that will have an effect on the collective. And your individual path, if you're on the positive path, on the path of service to others, will always include others. It's not like, oh, you just focus on inside and ignore the world. You are ready and willing to open yourself to the world. But not just to the good part of the world. Again, don't just say, I only want the light of the world. And I take all that in, that's fine. And the other side, the shadow, I'm going to put that away as much as possible, as far away as possible. That's not unity consciousness. Unity consciousness understands that all of this is part of the divine play here. All of it. Okay? Now, this has been an extended version of the August 2024 examination of the energies and themes, but I think it can be valuable. And if it is valuable to you, let me know in the comments what you take from this, or how it may have changed or shifted your perspective. But you will, once you learn the lesson of how to differentiate between false and true information, false and true speech, and looking at speech and action in combination, you will get so much more clarity and move out of the state of confusion that everybody or most people seem to be in right now. And we need clarity. You need clarity, because as long as you're confused, you are also vulnerable. You're vulnerable to the strongest thread pulling at you. And those pulling on those threads, they know this. They know this. They know confusion makes you vulnerable. And it's easier for them to get you then onto their side, pulling you over to their side. The clearer that you are, the more you follow your own values and you support whatever is in accordance with those values. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to love you and bless you for today, and we'll talk again next time if you want to.